The Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Connolly, for 5 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman Lynch, and thank you for holding this hearing. And I want to thank Congresswoman Norton for her leadership on the District of Columbia. And it's a pleasure to welcome this panel, especially my old friends Mayor Fenty and Chairman Gray, with whom I worked many years in local regional issues here in the National Capital Region. For the life of our republic, we've relied on a federalist system to deliver services in a cost-effective manner that protects individual civil rights and general welfare, except in Washington, D.C. Our founders established a system of government that constrained the power of the federal government and protected local and state prerogatives, except in Washington, D.C. For the last 2 centuries, we've witnessed the creative evolution of the roles of local, state, and federal governments, except in Washington, D.C., where the City Council's attempts to govern in accordance with its residents' needs and desires has been constrained and thwarted all too frequently by political gamesmanship and obstruction by this Congress. The District of Columbia faces many challenges. Unfortunately, the district's residents' capacity to hold local officials accountable in addressing these challenges is compromised because those local officials are constrained by congressional attempts either to manipulate laws in the district and or congressional failure to approve district budgets in a timely manner. If the residents of the district are going to hold their elected officials accountable, Congress needs to get out of the way. Congresswoman Norton has presented us with 2 bills that would restore a federalist balance of power to local government in the District of Columbia. The District Legislative Autonomy Act and the District of Columbia Budget Autonomy Act are 2 notable and worthy pieces of legislation. Some may be concerned these bills would result in things like tighter gun controls or protection for certain people with certain lifestyles. Whether they do or not, I don't think is the business of this Congress. I believe that Congress needs to defend the underlying principle of local autonomy, even if the district contemplates actions with which we individually or even collectively may disagree. It's not our business. It simply should not be the role of Congress to meddle with local decision-making. That is a principle I have always held, and it's a principle that will guide me in my future policy and votes with respect to this local government. I thank the Chair and yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Before we turn to the testimony of our witnesses, I'd like to offer some brief introductions of our first panel. The Honorable Adrian M. Fenty was elected to serve as the 5th Mayor of the District of Columbia in November 2006. As Mayor, Mr. Fenty has made high-quality public education for all and efficient and accountable government his administration's policy priorities. A native Washingtonian, Mayor Fenty attended Oberlin College before earning a Juris Doctorate degree from Howard University Law School. After graduating from law school, Mayor Fenty went on to serve as a local ANC commissioner and later as the Ward 4 council member from 2001 to 2007. The Honorable Vincent C. Gray is the current chairman of the District of Columbia City Council. Also a native Washingtonian and a proud graduate of the District of Columbia public school system, Chairman Gray has developed a reputation as a champion of young people by helping them and their families gain access to critical social services. Prior to being elected to chair the city's legislative body, Chairman Gray represented the city's residents of Ward 7 on the City Council. Chairman Gray is also well known for his service as the first executive director of the Covenant House, Washington, an organization dedicated to serving homeless and at-risk youth. Dr. Natwar Gandhi serves as the Chief Financial Officer for the government of the District of Columbia. In his position, Dr. Gandhi is responsible for the city's finances, including its approximately $7 billion in annual operating and capital funds. Dr. Gandhi was appointed to this position on June 7, 2000, and was reappointed by Mayor Fenty in January 2007. As the independent CFO, Dr. Gandhi manages more than 1,000 staff members in tax and revenue administration and in the Treasury, Comptroller, and Budget offices of the District of Columbia. Ms. Alice Rivlin served as the first director of the Congressional Budget Office and as the chair of the District of Columbia Control Board. Ms. Rivlin is an expert on urban issues as well as on fiscal, monetary, and social policy. Currently, she directs the Greater Washington Research Project as a Senior Economic Studies Fellow for the Brookings Institution. Mr. Walter Smith is the Executive Director of the D.C. Appleseed Center, a nonprofit public interest organization which addresses issues facing the nation's capital. Prior to his position with D.C. Appleseed, Mr. Smith was a partner for 16 years with the city's largest law firm, Hogan and Hartson. It is the committee's policy that all witnesses to appear before the committee and submit testimony shall be sworn. Could I ask you each to stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give before this subcommittee is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Let the record show that all of the witnesses have answered in the affirmative, and your entire written statements are entered into the record. I trust that you've been before this committee before, but just to go over the ground rules, those small boxes in front of you will indicate green, which means that you have time to submit your opening statement. When it turns to yellow, it means that you should probably conclude your statement, and then red light means you've exceeded your time limit. So with that, Mayor Fenty, it is an honor to have you here before this committee. I welcome you, and you're now recognized for 5 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you very much, Chairman Lynch, Ranking Member Chaffetz, distinguished subcommittee members, including my own Congresswoman Norton, Chairman Towns, and others. It is my pleasure to be here today to speak to you about H.R. 1045, the District of Columbia Budget Autonomy Act of 2009, and H.R. 960, the District of Columbia Legislative Autonomy Act of 2009. Both bills, if enacted, would represent an important step forward for the District of Columbia and its residents. To that end, I would like to take a moment to recognize the outstanding work of the district's representative in the House, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, who for years has championed the bills before this subcommittee today, and many others designed to grant the district the autonomy it deserves. These bills simply provide the district the same flexibility and autonomy afforded other jurisdictions around the country to ensure the efficient and effective delivery of services, a fundamental responsibility of good government. In 1973, Congress granted the district limited home rule powers and empowered the citizens of the district to elect a mayor and a city council. At the same time, however, Congress retained the power to review and approve all district laws, including the district's annual budget. This makes the district unique among jurisdictions that perform state-level functions, as the district does, in that Congress approves not only federal funding for the district, but also the spending of our local funds, a practice that ultimately hinders good government. The district government of today is not the district government of the 1990s. Which saw the creation of the congressionally mandated control board because of unsound financial practices. Thanks in part to the work of my predecessor, Mayor Anthony Williams, we have come a long way since then, and we are not going back. This year, the district submitted to Congress its 14th consecutive balanced budget, and we continue to exercise sound financial management practices, a fact validated by the A+ credit rating awarded to our bonds by the nation's rating agencies. I am confident Dr. Gandhi will speak to the significance of that in a few minutes, but I hope my point is clear. The district's fiscal house is in order, and the time has come to lessen the burdens imposed by congressional approval of the district's budget.